Good evening, folks. We're going to call the meeting of the Harwich Select Board for Monday, July 27, 2026 to order. And we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if able, please join us for the pledge.
It's because Jay's not here.
What happened there?
Here we go.
I think that's the stress, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'll put it on one.
I'm just going to hope that's not a sign of how this meeting's going to go this evening.
No, it's going to go great.
Quite possible.
So with that said, we're going to move along to public comments and announcements. Any member of the public wishing to address us? Mr. Berry?
Duncan Berry, West Harwich, coming to you as the new president of the Harwich Historical Society. Thank you, Anita. We are going to have Java and history, free coffee, free history at the Brooks Academy Museum, 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturday the 8th. I'm calling it the Third Great Awakening. And we're hoping we're going to see some of you all out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'd like to get your permission to put this lovely poster downstairs. We'll be serving exclusively Chase and Sandboard coffee, which I hope to get into the local stores also, because as you all know, that's a hometown brand. Thank you very much. Hope to see you all here.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move along to staff. Any members of the staff wishing to address the board this evening?
Hello, Reagan Wilda, Harwich Community Center. I'm just going to go through our August events coming up at the Community Center, starting with back by popular demand. August 5th, we're doing jewelry bingo. Join us for a fun twist on the classic game of bingo. Win stylish bingo bags filled with jewelry surprises each round. Bring your lucky charm and get ready to have some fun. On August 7th, we're going to be doing an indoor yard sale, community yard sale in the gymnasium of the Harwich Community Center. It is full. We have a wait list started for anybody who would like to have a table, but we are advertising for anybody that wants to come shop. It's from 9 to 3, August 7th. And if you are interested in having a table, we could put you on the wait list and reach out to you if spots become available. August 7th and August 20th, we partnered up with the Council on Aging to do a free ice cream social. So we have free ice cream from 1:30 to 2:30. Ice cream has been donated from different establishments in Harwich, including Dairy Queen and Sweet Izzy's. Cape Harmony has been with us throughout the summer, Fridays at 7:30, from 7:30 to 8:30. Their last performance for the summer will be on August 7th. It is $10 for adults, $7 for youth. You pay at the door. And if you haven't had a chance to come see them yet, I highly recommend them. It's a great group of girls. It's a cappella. August 11th from 2 to 3, we're doing kite decorating and flying, open for all ages. We provide all the materials. It's a drop-in event. You do not have to register. On August 13th, Giataku fish printing from local artist John Doherty with, he's a local business from Fish Eye Trading Company. He has a business right here in Harwich. He's going to be doing demonstrations of fish printing. August 13th at 6 p.m. Registration for that is required. And then on August 14th, we have a sound bath meditation at 6 p.m. Also, that is $10 a person, also registration required for that. And then currently through the month of July, we've had a shredding bin available in the community center for folks to drop off papers they'd like to have shredded. And that will still be available in the first coming weeks in August. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other members of the staff who would like to address the board this evening?
Hello, Jamie Goodwin, Harwich Channel Station Manager. I just wanted to remind the board and the public that we've been recording and filming the Harwich Town Band concerts that are taking place at Brooks Park. My volunteers, Jim and Jane Fulton, have been recording them. So they're on our YouTube page under the 2026 Harwich Town Band concerts. We occasionally are able to air them if we have some airspace in between meetings, but they're always posted on YouTube the Wednesday after their performances, so.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other staff members? Seeing none, we'll move along to the town administrator's report. Mr. McKay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good evening.
I'm going to start off with the updates to the Phase 3. So Robert Our Company continues active work on both Contract 1E and Contract 2W. This week, July 27th through the 31st, Contract 1E work focuses on Christopher Way and Wilmus Way, where crews are beginning installation of gravity, sewer main, and manholes. Huckleberry Path continues with low-pressure sewer main and lateral installation. At the Pleasant Bay Road East Pump Station, crews are installing the septic to sewer line, plumbing, and pump. On the 2W side, restoration is underway on Charlene Lane and Standish Wood Circle with top course paving, and the Chestnut Lane Pump Station is receiving an electrical inspection and paver installation. Next week, August 3rd through the 7th, 1E crews continue on Christopher Way, Wilmus Way, and Huckleberry Path, and break ground on Sadie's Way and Hall's Path 1 for low-pressure sewer main installation. The 2W crew shifts to milling Elm Drive and working on Harding Lane, Maple Lane, and Chestnut Lane in preparation for final paving. The following week, August 10th through the 14th, 1E work continues on Christopher Way, Wilmus Way, and Hall's Path 1, with Kimberly Way added for gravity lateral installation. The 2W crew moves to grading and binder placement on Harding Lane, Maple Lane, and Chestnut Lane ahead of final paving. Moving on to Phase 3A narrative, Diggett Construction continues Phase 3A work. This week, July 27th through the 30th, crews will begin construction on both Rainbow Way and Ripple Way, installing low-pressure sewer main and laterals in each street's right-of-way. Both streets will receive temporary paving and loam restoration after pipe work. The week wraps with project-wide cleanup and prep for weekend shutdown. Next week, August 3rd through the 6th, work shifts to Lakeside Terrace and Vacation Lane for installation of low-pressure sewer laterals, followed again by cleanup and weekend shutdown. All schedules are subject to adjustment based on contractor progress and weather. Updates are posted to the town website as well as social media.
Questions? No.
No,
I thought you were prepping yourself over there.
prepping for the next agenda
Excellent.
item.
There we go. I'll move on to the town administrator report. Thank you. Written by Mr. McGrill, is not here tonight, but so I'll read it from his point of view so everybody realizes that.
When you say aye, it's true.
Yes, when I say I'd say. So I signed a contract with the Animal Rescue League of Boston. This contract runs from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. And under the agreement, the Animal Rescue League will accept stray and unlicensed dogs delivered by Town of Harwich agents and hold them at the ARL facility in Brewster for the legally required impoundment period per Mass General Laws, Chapter 140. The total contract value is $7,543 to be paid quarterly at $1,885.73 per invoice, consistent with prior year arrangements. Hesh Kaliski donation. I had the honor of participating in a check presentation on behalf of Jan Kaliski Memorial Fund, which was established in January 2025 to benefit children and those experiencing homelessness in Harwich. The fund presented $2,000 in total, $1,000 to the Harwich Ecumenical Council for Housing, and $1,000 to the Children's Center. Jan Kaliski was a Polish mathematician and logician who survived Nazi occupation and eventually emigrated to the United States, where he went on to become an assistant professor of philosophy at UC Berkeley before his untimely passing in 1953. The fund established in his memory carries forward the same spirit that helped him survive, creating spaces where the vulnerable can find refuge. It was a truly moving occasion, and I am grateful to have been a part of it. Thank you to the Kalicki family for their generosity and their commitment to our community. The non-resident taxpayer meeting will be held on August 10th, 2026, during the regular Select Board meeting, which will start no earlier than 6:00 p.m. Representatives from the Fire Department, Police Department, Golf Department, Harbor Master, Department of Public Works, Recreation Department, and Water Wastewater Department will be present at the meeting. And finally, the Zoning Working Group. I am working with a group of residents spearheaded by Planning Board Chair Duncan Berry and Zoning Board of Appeals Chair Brian Sullivan to explore the concept of a zoning review work group modeled on Eastham's successful task force on zoning and regulation. The idea would be to establish an advisory body of the Select Board to conduct a coordinated review of the town's zoning bylaw and develop practical recommendations for updates. This is still in the exploratory stage, and I will bring a formal proposal to the board for consideration in the future.
Any
That's all I
comments?
have for tonight.
Hearing none, we can move on. Any member of the board wish to remove any item from the consent agenda prior to the vote? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as written and presented in our packet this evening with 3 modifications, if I may. Item C, a thank you to Rose Vella for the gift of $250. A thank you to Sophia Piling for her time on the Conservation Commission. And on item E, that Eversource will leave the property in better condition than they found it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
3 of them. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. New business, we'll move along to the debrief from Chief Consa and Chief LeBlanc following, as a follow-up to the July 4th holiday. Appreciate you gentlemen coming in this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, thank you. Pleasure to be here. And actually, from the fire department's perspective, a really good report for the weekend. While we were busy from Friday through Sunday, we did about 71 incidents, which is about 10 more than our daily average. There was really nothing significant. We had a couple of mutual aid fires that were minor. We had a hydraulic spill at the harbor, which was handled really well by both the harbor master and our staff. Again, things that would have happened on any other day, so nothing really crazy out of the way. We had the Wauquasit fireworks, which were uneventful, but we staffed that for the entire day, so that was our personnel there from basically 5:30 in the morning when the fireworks were unloaded until 10 o'clock at night when the last shot was fired, literally. And then we tried to do a detail both Friday and Saturday night in Harwichport. We were unable due to staffing to fill Friday night, but Saturday, the fire inspector was down there. I was down there for a while. And I'm not going to steal the chief's thunder, but the police department did a phenomenal job with Harwichport. We didn't have any issues from the fire department perspective. So all in all, busy weekend, but not anything we weren't prepared for. We didn't have to rely too much on outside help, and we wrapped it up pretty well.
Thank you,
So-
appreciate that.
Good evening, Kevin Considine, Police Chief. Appreciate the time. As you recall, we were before you, before the 4th of July, and kind of indicated of what we thought might be the case of what may happen in Harwichport with the youth, other issues that we have down there, and no real surprises. We did have those issues. I want to go over the calls for service that we have, then briefly read a synopsis about the operational period. So our operational period was July 2nd through July 5th. We had 266 calls for service during that time. We had 10 total arrests and 2 persons placed in protective custody for alcohol. The breakdown of those arrests, disorderly conduct, 6, and minor possession, 6. Warrant arrest 2, trespassing and shoplifting 1, and operating under the influence 1. Other notable calls for service, we had 10 disturbances during that time frame. shockingly, 4 fireworks complaints during those 4 days. 39 motor vehicle stops, 16 suspicious activity calls, and 17 dedicated traffic enforcement calls. So very busy for that operational period. And for the board, like to give you just a snapshot of a wrap-up of what we already talked about when we were here before, and I'm just going to conclude with what we're going to do next year to improve our plan, and some issues that we did identify that we have to work on. So I would like to take this opportunity to update the board on the police department activities and statistics for the operational period, beginning midnight on July 2nd through the conclusion of the 4 to 12 shift on July 5th. In preparation for the 4th holiday, the department instituted a department-wide time-off blackout period to ensure maximum staffing. An operational plan was developed and implemented, placing a heavy complement of officers on duty throughout the holiday period. Prior to the holiday, we conducted a comprehensive review of last year's operations, making adjustments based on lessons learned, identified problem areas, and intelligence gathered throughout the year in advance of this year's past celebration. As expected, it was an exceptionally busy weekend in town. The primary areas of activity were obviously Harwichport and West Harwich. In advance of that holiday, we met in person with several Harwichport residents and local business owners to maintain an open line of communication and discuss any anticipated concerns of the 4th of July weekend. These meetings proved to be extremely beneficial once the holiday arrived. I would also like to recognize the businesses in Harwichport area for their cooperation. Business owners and managers were highly receptive to addressing issues as they arose and were proactive in managing security, crowd control, and customer lines throughout the weekend. Additionally, rideshare services operated in a high volume in Harwichport and did not create any significant traffic concerns as passengers were quickly picked up and dropped off very efficiently. As anticipated, we once again experienced a large influx of teenagers arriving in Harwichport and at our local beaches, particularly within the campgrounds, including Ocean Ave and Central Ave. On July 2nd, more than 100 juveniles gathered in this area, and on July 4th, approximately 50 were present. These gatherings were coordinated through social media platforms. Every single juvenile we spoke to or arrested were from off-Cape. Through proactive deployment and early intervention, our officers quickly gained control of these situations, significantly limiting disruptions for the neighborhood and maintain public safety. I was particularly pleased to receive 2 emails from residents of the campgrounds on July 5th, expressing their appreciation for our officers. One captured our officers' professionalism perfectly, and I'd just like to read 2 parts of both of those emails. One stated, "Last night, it was happening again, and before we could even call the police, you were already here. Your department was completely on top of things and made it much more family-friendly environment for our neighborhood." The final email, "It is never easy to manage a large group of teenagers who are still learning how to make good decisions, particularly when they are under the influence. Throughout the weekend, the Harwich Police handled these interactions with understanding, sound judgment, and appropriate balance of guidance and enforcement." And I could not say it more perfectly. Those were kind of my words throughout the winter to my staff, hence the number of calls we had and arrests we've had. And it just sums up the weekend perfectly by this residence. Your efforts helped keep the neighborhood safe while treating everyone with respect, and they are greatly appreciated. Before I conclude, I'd just like to thank our command staff, supervisors, officers, and dispatchers, and support staff for their tireless work, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to public safety. Everyone worked together as a team, and most importantly, everyone remained safe throughout the period. I would also like to extend a special thank you to Lieutenant Aram Goshgarian, our operations lieutenant. Lieutenant Goshgarian coordinated and directed department operations and the plan and maintained a constant presence in Harwichport throughout the weekend, engaging with residents, business owners, our supervisors, and our officers. His leadership and hands-on approach were instrumental in the success of our operation. The tremendous efforts by every member of the department did not go unnoticed by me. They were recognized by our residents, appreciated by our business community, and reflected in our ability to manage what was by far our busiest time this summer. Finally, there are a number of things we do need to work on. I will continue to work with the residents and the business owners to address these issues. I was down there that weekend until very early in the morning, observing all these, helping the shift out, but we need to have a continued focus on lines outside establishments. What we've noticed was a better control of the lines by the security staff of the establishments, which was greatly appreciated. However, in the morning, there was a large amount of nips and alcohol near the line, which tells me, it doesn't take a rocket science to tell me that they're waiting in line and having their libations while they're waiting to get in, which is a problem. So we did address that with the business owners, and they alerted security, and they were much more visible to look out for those things. Continued enforcement of trespassing in the neighborhoods that abut businesses in Harwichport. This has been an ongoing issue from last summer. What I think is happening is because these places are so popular and the lines are so deep that everybody thinks they can just go around back to private property and try to hop fences. So we are constantly dealing with that, getting calls for that, and trying to come up with a remedy of that. Continued presence at closing time. There's a lot of people leaving, especially on the 4th of July weekend. And we just need to make sure everybody keeps safe when they leave and they get home safe. And then a greater presence in the campgrounds will happen next year, even on top of what we had this year, with the ultimate goal of, when they're on social media, just tell them not to show up to Harwichport. And I think that message has gotten through this year with the activity that we've had and the arrests that we made. And I think we'll see a substantial less kids show up, and that is all social media driven. Thank you.
Excellent. Before I turn it over to the board, I'd just like to thank both of you gentlemen for your efforts. And I think, not only you folks, but each and every member of your department, the success that weekend wasn't by accident, right? What we've seen historically is starting to improve each year, and I'm happy to hear you're going to continue to refine your plan in the police department, and only 4 calls on fireworks is amazing to me, actually. So, and the last thing I'll say is I truly believe that's the weekend that your department should have taser training. So I think it will help solve the problem, but that's just a layman's recommendation. So with that said, Anita?
No, I just want to thank you for everything that you guys did and all the work your departments put forward for that weekend, which is long, and thank you for, what I refer to as the back 28 for Wequasit. That's quite a hectic road back there, but thank you very much for all you did.
Jeff?
I'll apologize, the nips were mine. I'll pick them up next year. No, but seriously, I'm at ground zero. We didn't hear or see a thing. So both of your departments did such an amazing job controlling it quietly. And it was great. Well done.
No, I just want to thank you guys. Great job. You answered my question if those issues in the campground will recur. You basically said the word is out. Don't come back down to Howard. So just a great job, and thank you.
Don?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. You guys came in last year and dissected what happened last year. You were very hands-on there. Everything you promised to do, you did this year. And on behalf of the neighbors, I'm sure I extend their gratitude towards you. I know it's a moving target, but it's something that they haven't experienced up until recent times in terms of public safety.
Jim, anything you want to add?
I think, yes. This was my first experience with the Fourth down here. These guys are, and John over there, John Harker as well, and also our rec department across the board, our lifeguards. It was such a professional organization effort, And these guys are, the three that are in this room are top-notch. They really are. I mean, I've worked in a few municipalities, yeah, and I can't say enough good things about them. Communicative, kept us in the loop on everything, and of course, like, the safety was number one. So kudos to them. Obviously, I just share everything that you said, but from our perspective, myself, Jay's, these guys are the best. So we're lucky to have them.
Thank you. Gentlemen, anything else you want to share?
The invitation's always open for a 1 AM drive with the chief, July 4th. Feel free.
Joe,
Which
let's
seat?
get Jeff on that.
Which seat?
Will it be taser training?
One front seat, yes.
Yes, the back seat of his cruiser is a little slippery. You may want to stay out of that.
Yeah, it's missing an accessory,
Yeah.
a way to get out.
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Going to move right along to the discussion and vote on the harbor master recommendation. And Jim, I'll turn it over to you before John gets up to the microphone.
Yeah, so this is a recommendation that John has worked on with myself and Jay in regards to, we sent a memo to you guys in regards to the harbor management plan. So he's going to talk about that tonight, but there's various, throughout the plan, there's various regulations that include associated fines for noncompliance and intentional violations. And the fines currently range from $20 to $200 and appear in 12 different sections of the plan. This inconsistency results in penalties that do not accurately reflect the seriousness of the violation and what goes on a regular basis down at the harbor. And it doesn't provide an effective deterrent for some of these violations. So I think, as a result, the current range of fines, it misrepresents what we're doing here, the severity of the offenses, and fails to prevent the repeat violations that occur. So John's requested and taken a look at different structures in regards to the fine structure to provide a more effective deterrent to the repeat violations that go on down at the harbor. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him talk a little more clear in regards to that.
No, thank you for doing that, John Harker, your harbor master. Good evening, Mr. Chair, and good evening, board. Nice to see all of you. It's been a little bit of time, but that was a perfect synopsis of where I was coming from this request. And I think when you said effective deterrence, I think we need to also understand when we talk about fines and penalties, the approach of our department is educate first to deter. And so having that clear transparency and consistency in fines and fees is really imperative for us because the lines do get very blurry when we're trying to think, is this a $20 fine in the pond up to a $200 fine for a jet ski? And, when I approached the town administrator and assistant town administrator about the fines, I used the example of if I have, and this happens quite often, we have people that will actually come to the harbor and take an area for themselves or go on someone's personal dock and take that area for themselves without permission. And a 25-foot boat staying in the harbor overnight, the cost for that's about $62. Right now, if someone were to come and park their boat, I have only a $50 fine I can actually give them. So it's actually cheaper just to take the fine than it is actually to make a reservation. And so we like to educate and we like to go to people and talk to them about, first ask them why they're doing these intentional actions. And then furthermore, tell them, if you carry on forward with these actions, the first, second, or third offense is going to result in these certain levels of fines. And right now, a $50 fine in many people's minds, that's, as I get it all the time, that's 2 drinks at Brax. So, it's not a really hard deterrence that we have. So again, it's not about the revenue, it's about deterrence and education in our mind. And I feel that the levels right now could be raised, and I would love to hear the input. I know initially I had put 100 for the first offense, 200 for a second, and then up to 500 for a third. I think that there could be some, levels of that lowered, but also just kind of sustain with that initial conversation and initial level of $100 at a minimum to start with those offenses.
Yeah, and full disclosure on that. So John had asked us to get into a conversation in regards to those numbers, and we talked with council as well in regards to what we could do as far as that's concerned. And so coming back, we're, in the memo here, we're recommending, and when talking with John, really raising the minimum is really more effective than having a maximum in regards to this. Again, it's for education purposes and to serve as a deterrent, so we can manage those areas more effectively and safely in regards to this. So we're looking at, as a recommendation, 100 for the first offense, 150 for the second offense, and 200 for the third, and any additional offenses beyond that. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But we're, really the focus, if you wanted to look at this on a big picture, is the minimum amount, raising from that $50 to the $100, to offer more of a deterrent. And then, you know, to speak to what John does on it, you know, I meet with John regularly about the day-to-day. John does do a very good job at educating the people that come in regards to what can and cannot happen in the harbors and various waterways we have. So it's always about educating first, talking to people, and trying to create a deterrent without even getting into the fine aspect of it. But the repeat offenders, that's where it becomes more of a monetary deterrent in regard, and a little more serious to what we're trying to do here as far as management is concerned. The exact story he just told, I think, happened in the last couple of weeks. So it's, you know, we're looking at it from more of, again, the minimum amount for a first offense after the education has happened from John, and as far as the explanation is concerned.
Excellent, thank you. I'll open it up to the board. Anyone?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thanks, John, for being here. Always good to see you. Just a couple quick questions. Obviously, the education component is discretionary on your part, right? You may choose to not go the educational route if it's an egregious offense. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Intentional is different.
Okay. Are all first offenses $50?
Well, that's goes to the point of in 12 different areas at different levels. That makes it very difficult for us to also kind of have that first initial conversation with people, kind of, and when I said that, it's kind of blurry lines for us, kind of thinking in our head, like, well, this offense I think is $20, but the next one.
Sorry, not 50, 100. Are all first offenses now, with your proposal,
Yes.
starting at $100?
Yes.
So if it was something incredibly egregious, we're still starting at $100?
Yes, but, you know, we can look at, so there are different mechanisms depending on where the offense falls and which kind of bucket, if it's underneath almost a state regulation too. So if you think about the authority that is bestowed on harbor masters, that goes back to Chapter 91 and 10A, that gives us the authority to actually give or enforce violations under any kind of waterway regulation, but then also under Chapter 90B and 323 CMR 2.0, that gives us state authority to enforce state laws. So in some circumstances, I'll look at giving them a harbor regulation violation, and then I can also give them a state violation, state of Massachusetts Environmental Police violation. Many times I'll usually just do one or the other if it's egregious, or I did have a negligent operations the other day where, you know, I spoke to the person and I gave them the higher one, which was the state.
And if I could continue, Mr. Chair, my intention wouldn't be to handcuff you if you thought a higher fine would be appropriate for the violation. So would this cover, the language that's in here, do you feel covers your ability to move up and down the scale as you see fit?
Again, I don't feel that the first offense, even if it's intentional, should be the largest swing. I mean, I think the initial offense, when we talk to people and they have that in their head, that the first one is going to be at this level and the next one will be at the next level, I think that's the larger deterrent that we're looking for. I do, you know, initially I did kind of go for a higher level of the 500, but I understand that we do have some restrictions. Being that, that's a larger conversation that we can have with people and be at a higher level, but I'm very flexible with where we would land on what the levels is acceptable for the board.
And last question, how do we compare to other towns?
Currently,
Yeah. No, with your proposal.
similar.
Is that similar?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I would say it's still at the lower end, at the 150, 200.
My thinking is if everybody else is higher, everyone's gonna come here and cause trouble, because we're the lowest penalties and lowest fees.
It's more convenience, yeah. I don't think people would intentionally do that, but I think it's,
Yeah.
they would know that, you know, maybe in Chatham, that violation's $250, but in Harwich, maybe I'll just go over there, for
We'll go over
instance,
there.
and more
Right.
illegally or unauthorized, because it's only $100, so.
Okay. Well, as always, you put in a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of thought into whatever you bring before this board. So I always come in inclined to move forward with whatever you present. And now that you've answered my questions, I'm pretty comfortable. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate all the work that you do at that harbor. Does this make it easier for you to have it, like, instead of, like you had mentioned a few minutes ago, a $20 fine, $50 fine, does it make it easier for you to just keep it at that 100, no matter?
100%.
That's what I thought.
The deputy and myself are the only ones that actually have the authority under that Chapter 91, 10A to enforce these, but even for our staff to say, you know, if you're going to move in this direction, or if you are going to do this intentionally, that is going to be a $100 fine. So it's really for the entire staff, including seasonal, that they can communicate these types of actions and the repercussions.
So it does make it a lot easier, so you don't have to look
A
up
lot
votes.
easier,
That's
yep.
what I thought. I had a feeling that that's where you're going. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and obviously I'm going to agree to this. It's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Nia.
Mark?
Sure. John, what are an examples of some of the most common infractions that you're running into?
To the point of unauthorized mooring, on the 4th of July, we had several instances where people would just kind of show up, or, you know, I'd go down and to a certain area and say, you know, you're not authorized to be here, or you're past your 15 minutes, you need to leave, drive away, come back 20 minutes later, they're there again.
Okay.
I would say that safety and operations is another one, you know, people actually operating unsafe, no wake zones, things of that sort. And again, those kind of, now we're kind of delving into like the double bucket of state and waterway regulations, so there is a little bit more of a flexibility there for egregiousness. Those are probably the biggest ones right now, if you really can think about it. Public intoxication and alcohol consumption, that's another one. That one's 95% of the time, you know, this is public property, you know, when you're sitting on your boat, it's a little bit different, those types of things, so.
Is there an appeal process?
There is an appeal process currently in the harbor management plan for everything, yes.
Okay. Last question, can we get this into effect for this season to help out John, or is this gonna be, I don't know how you have to publish these rates, I don't know how it goes from here.
Being that it's a fine and a penalty, I did not think it needed to be published, it would just be a change in
Okay.
the harbor management plan, so I was hoping it could be effective sooner than later.
Yeah, we can approve it at this level, and then it would be effective in the harbor management plan. Then it would be effectively published in regards to that as an update.
Good, so you can get some relief this season, that's the reason I asked that, so,
Yes.
good.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit further for Mark, because I was thinking the same thing. Everything sounded great, but the harbor management plan requires a hearing. Yeah, it's pretty much all of our rates require public hearings. That was the question I had. Has anybody run past legal counsel to see if this requires a public hearing notice?
The only response as far as council's concerned right now was really the amount we were looking at. That's why we brought it here to discuss first. The harbor management plan does have to go through waterways in regards to getting approved.
Yeah, the reason why we came directly here is we don't have a quorum, and we don't have the appropriate membership at this time to
I
go
think
to
that's
waterways.
that's getting finalized as of right now. Yeah.
Just to be clear, I'm not talking about the Waterways Committee. I'm talking about a published
But-
hearing here.
Okay, yeah.
Did anybody
can-
specifically ask that?
No one's asked that yet. I don't believe so.
And then I apologize, I did not feel that it needed to go to a public hearing because it wasn't a rate, it was more of a fine schedule, like a rate schedule almost. Being that it's not something that's like voluntarily charged to somebody, it's an actual violation, but if I'm wrong, we
We
would
can
have no
certainly
problem.
schedule hearing.
I'm certainly not, speaking as if I know what the law is, but I know going back when some of the rates were changed, we had to actually go in front of a subcommittee because the sand is owned by the state.
Sure.
And we had to go to a hearing at Beacon Hill in order to receive their permission for us to do this. So I'm not sure that hasn't changed, because that's been a fair amount of time, but I don't mind voting on this tonight, but I would kind of like somebody to check in with legal counsel to see if it required a public
Sure,
hearing.
we can, pending legal counsel's approval.
I mean,
know
I'm
what we
hoping
need
it
to do.
doesn't, because Mark's question is valid. It's like to
Sure.
get this on the books, like, for this season.
Well, and just to interrupt, that's half the reason we put it on tonight's agenda, is so that we could get some skin in the game this season. I would lean towards what Mr. Harker said, that, where this is a fine and not a fee, that it may not require it, but we will certainly run it by
Yeah, we
council for
definitely.
their opinion and then move forward. But to your point, Mr. Howell, we can definitely vote on it this evening with that as, the caveat.
And in that case, I'd move to accept the fine recommendations as presented, pending assurance from legal counsel that the process was correct.
Second.
Motion and a second. My only quick comments are, no, you know what, who gives a damn? Let's move on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much for your time this
Mr.
evening.
Chair.
Going to move along to item C, which is a discussion vote on the conveyance of 2-acre parcel identified as assessor parcel 82-R5 located off Pleasant Lake Ave to the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Mr. Chair,
Please.
I move to approve pursuant to the vote taken under Article 12 of the October 18th, 2021 special town meeting to convey to the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund a 2-acre parcel located off Pleasant Lake Ave, which parcel is identified as Assessor's Parcel 82-R5 and described in an order of taking recorded with the Barnstable Registry of Deeds in Book 37419, page 22, for affordable housing purposes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
That was always the intention, and that's what town meeting was told prior to the taking, so this is going to actually confirm that action.
And I believe it was actually written within the article. Any further discussion at the board level? Mr. Otten?
Yes, hello, thank you. Patrick Otten, East Harwich. Quick question. Is there a possibility to put a conservation restriction on town-owned property?
Is there a possibility?
To put, yes, well, there is.
Always a possibility.
Okay. Is that applicable in this case?
Well, I'm not going to answer on behalf of the board, I'm going to answer on behalf of myself. The motion at town meeting was to transfer this property to the Affordable Housing Trust for the area in which everybody knew was being developed with affordable housing. So I'm less inclined to support it personally. Anybody else on the board wish to opine? Nope.
All right, thank you. Just want to keep that idea of conservation.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any comments from either member of the trust? No. Perfect. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Discussion and vote to name TD Equipment Finance as the awarded lessor for the Cranberry Valley Golf Course turf equipment fleet, and authorize the town of Harwich to enter into a lease at a tax exempt rate of 4.23 over 60 months. Jen, you want to take this one?
Sure.
Thank you.
So, a while back, Roman came to me to discuss the need to replace some aging turf maintenance equipment. He had already secured a quote for a lease to purchase contract through John Deere, which is the supplier of the equipment. And I felt I could beat the rate that they were providing. So I went out and did a little scouring and found better rates. So what we've put in your packet before you today is basically, as a comparison, I provided first of all the equipment, several different types of mowers. I can't really speak to that for you. You'd have to get Roman to talk more to that. There is a trade-in allowance for the existing equipment of $13,300, so the net amount financed is $548,548. The financing that was provided as through John Deere Financial was a 4.99% subsidized municipal rate which would have made the payments $10,306.39 per month for a term of 60 months, for a total finance charge of $69,835.40. Again, I went out using our stellar credit rating to secure a better rate. I was able to get 4.23% of a tax-exempt rate from TD Bank. And that took our monthly payment down to $10,159.38 for a term of 60 months. Total financing charges $61,014.90 for a savings of just shy of $9,000. We've basically already been in discussions. We've established a closing date, assuming that this is going to come to fruition, to have all of our ducks in a row. We had lots of runway in front of us, so we've been taking this very proactively, which is good. We're set for an upcoming closing date, and hopefully this meets with whatever your requirements are for approving. And I can answer any more questions you might have about the specifics.
Excellent. Open up to the board. Questions for Jen?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you know the last time, we're coming out of one now?
For different equipment.
For different
We finished
equipment.
one last year. So there was a year where there was
Right.
none.
My question really revolves around the useful life of this equipment that we're buying.
Mhm.
Is that a Roman question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure I know the answer to that.
Yeah, I see 60 months with a buyout of $1. Just want to make sure these things last 60 months. And that's kind of the,
I would certainly hope so. It
I would
not
hope
be
so, too.
my intent that this is a good purchase if not.
correct. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Anita?
I don't have anything, thank you.
And it is new equipment.
Brand new
so,
equipment, right.
Yes. It is being built.
Just, Jen, thank you for your due diligence. You saved the town $10,000. Thank you.
I'm picking up the quarters as I walk along.
Go on.
It just as an overarching comment, I'm sure Jeff would have said this, but I'm sure that Roman wasn't alone in this. I'm sure that John was part of the discussion. I don't think there's anybody who's got more proficiency in this area than Sean
100%.
Fernandez.
He was, very much.
Absolutely. Jim, any comments?
No, I was just going to state that Roman and Sean brought this to Jen, myself, and Jay. We had the discussion on this, so. And Sean spoke a lot about the specs and the equipment and pushed for this. And Jen, of course, found the great deal for us out of it. That's why we met together to figure this out, so. But that's a good question, Jeff, around talking to Sean or Roman in regards to the type of equipment and their confidence in it.
And understanding neither one of you are here, do we know if the last lease that expired a year ago was a 60-month lease?
I believe it was.
Yes.
I believe it was. It was for different equipment, but it was
Understood,
60
yeah.
month.
Okay.
And just structurally, for anyone that might wonder, like the difference between financing and lease financing is essentially that when you finance something, you borrow the money from the bank, you use that money to purchase something, and then you own it outright from day one. This, what we're essentially doing, is TD Bank is buying the equipment. They're leasing it to us for the monthly payment. So we still make the payment, we still insure the equipment, we still maintain it, and then at the end of that 60-month term, we buy the equipment for $1 from TD Bank.
All right,
So we
excellent.
still own it. It's
Sure.
the same essential
Yep, just using someone else's
end
money.
result, we're just using somebody else's
Yep.
money.
It's a credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to name TD Equipment Finance as the awarded lessor for the Cranberry Valley Golf Course turf equipment fleet and authorize the town of Harwich to enter into the lease at a tax-exempt rate of 4.23% over 60 months.
Is there a total amount?
Total dollar value, John?
Total dollar value, Jen, is 500 and...
548.
Second.
Motion and a second. I'm not going to repeat the motion. No further discussion? Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Jen.
Thank you.
Discussion and vote to accept and close and sign the 2026 state primary election warrant. Madam Clerk, would you like to talk to the board? Good evening.
Good evening, Emily Mitchell, Town Clerk. So the warrant before you is just the list of offices that will appear on the state primary election ballot. We do propose, as required by state law, to have polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Harwich Community Center for voters in all 4 precincts.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
I move that we vote to accept, close, and sign the 2026 state primary election warrant.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
I move that we vote to set in-person early voting hours and location for the 2026 state primary election.
Second.
And those hours and location just were mentioned, right?
I'd be happy to give you a quick run through if
One
that
more
would be
time.
helpful.
Madam Clerk.
So again, consistent with state law for a state primary election for a community of our size, we're looking to have 6 weekend hours. I propose to set those as Saturday, August 22nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then we're required to be open for our full business hours, Monday through Friday, August 24th through 28th. So that would be 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day for in-person early voting for the state primary. And it would be based at the town clerk's office.
Mr. Chair, did I have a second?
You did.
Yeah, you
May
did.
you remove the second so I can redo my motion?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the in-person early voting hours and location for the 2026 state primary election as presented in our packet.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Sounds like the November general, you're gonna have like a 30-page ballot?
Gosh.
Crazy, right?
It's gonna be a doozy for our mailed ballots and our in-person voting. Yeah, something to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. All right, let's see, moving to item G, discussion and vote to appoint a Harwich rep to the Cape Cod Commission, term to expire April 24, 2029. I think we all received a email late this afternoon that candidate number 3, Peter Chalakas, has removed his name from consideration. And we have both gentlemen with us this evening who are candidates for this role, and they've been told that they have 3 minutes to speak to this board to outline their qualifications. So, Mr. Sutton, please. Good evening.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you here, as I'm very interested in the post. It occurred to me that you want to probably better understand my motivation for wanting to be a participant with the Cape Cod Commission, and it is, I've been almost 77 years in this town, off and on, and I've seen a lot change from as a kid riding a bicycle all over town after school to what we have today. And that 70 years went quickly, and the next 70 years will go quickly. In those future 70 years, I think the changes need to be very well considered, and as I think I've said before, I don't think people adequately consider the consequences of an act. They are in the moment, they think it looks like a good thing, they go for it, and then a year, 2, 3, 5 later, there's all of a sudden there's this, that, and the other thing that, oh, maybe we should have considered more of that. And this is my concern. I was before the Cape Cod Commission about something last year, and it's not the Cape Cod Commission that I remember getting excited about when in its inception. I saw it more as signing up and checking the boxes, modulating a little bit the ask from the petitioner, but nonetheless ready to check the box. I didn't see much in the way of pushback or talk about the future. And maybe that's just typical, because you probably all know that the bridges that are about to be built, the state, Mass DOT, hasn't given us an environmental impact study. The Cape Cod Commission hasn't told us what the consequences of those new bridges will be in terms of traffic development, whatever. And I would say that that's what they should have been doing all along. But they're excited with the project, so they're out looking for the money and getting the hole dug. So my contribution, were you to select me, would be to remind those that I would be with that there are always consequences, and it would be our job to consider what they might be. To speak in a metaphor, I would say this. When we were younger, there was this fad about seeing how many people you could stuff into a phone booth. I think the record was 25. However, who wants to get stuck in a phone booth? And so the idea of carrying capacity is a valuable thing to have a discussion, just almost a reflex discussion going forward with all boards on the Cape. And none of you would want to get on a ferry with an unlimited occupancy factor. You would like to know that the boat is rated for a certain number of people because that's what's safe and sensible. That approach is the approach that I believe every board that sits on Cape Cod should adequately consider every time they make a decision. Otherwise, you figure it out too late. And I don't like the idea of consequences that I haven't spent enough time with early on so that they don't go against me later on. So, with that, I thank you for your time.
Any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Suffin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's going to be the same for Mr. Spitz. Who are you serving if you get appointed?
Who am I serving? Well, I'm serving Harwich. Now, if I'm not clear on the mandate, whether or not I'm expected to poll your board, or whatever board, as to what the position would be, but I would say that I am not going to be an absolutist. I'm going to try to justify my vote. However, I would ask you to rely on my sensibilities based on this statement that I've just given to you.
I asked that, and this is a preview to David, that it's somewhat frightening to me, Jackie had mentioned this, that I see evidence of it in the Clean Waters Board too. The Cape Cod Commission is operating in large measure through subcommittees at this point. I'm not sure we all signed up for that. Taking the Clean Waters Fund, all 15 towns contribute to it, so it's ludicrous that 5 of them form an executive management board. And I guess my biggest concern is that whoever gets appointed there is neither supposed to facilitate nor reflexively turn down, but rather balance what's being asked, because that was the whole point of the development of regional impact, to get a larger organization involved to understand the impacts on all of us as opposed to just one of us. But going there, it's not a club.
I see.
Whatever anybody does leaving this room, they have to understand, if you have to question whether we should be involved here, then the default answer would be, yeah, because the public needs to be well served, and it's not something where you're assimilated and become a club member. It's to look out for our interests.
I understand that. Everybody will have their own idea about what our interest is, and I pledge to be careful about understanding what our interest is, but I can't give you an answer right now as we speak.
Okay, but just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Suffin? Mark?
Yeah, I'm just going to read from Jackie Eston's resignation letter, because I think it's pertinent to what this position I'd be looking for going to forward. It's, she said that she diligently read all documents and offered a few comments, but there was no reaction by staff, and changes were not made. The same is true of a review of draft DRI or approval. Staff do not respond to concerns. So she had a very frustrating experience. I'm personally looking for somebody to go there to kind of shake things up. I think we pay a certain amount of money every year to the Cape Cod Commission. The least we should expect is our representative, whoever it may be, gets responses. So I think we need to send somebody there that's going to shake some things up. And I do appreciate, and I'm not asking a question per se, but I'm making a statement. I like that term, carrying capacity. I believe in economic development, but you can see from this summer the tremendous traffic things, and it's getting to be a year-round concern. That until we get infrastructure improvements, I think carrying capacity is a very legitimate concern. So whoever is chosen, I hope you shake the powers to be up there, because I think it's needed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that, because it does allow me to broach her frustration. And I will be, I think, as loud a voice as I can be. I think you all know I'm no stranger to coming here when I find that I'm upset about something. And there's no reason why I'd change my stripes right now. So I will speak up if I'm upset. And of course, I would expect you to tell me where my upset fits within your parameters as stewards of the town.
Mr. Hanlon.
Matt, thanks for being here, and thanks for your interest. It's always great to see new people wanting to get involved in our government. The first question I had, same one Select Board Member Howell asked, is who do you serve, right? I'll go a little deeper and ask you, how do you plan on gathering the information, obtaining the information, polling the voters, understanding what the Select Board feels about certain things that the Cape Cod Commission is weighing in on?
Well, I should tell you that in my life, I've spent 5 years working for other people, and the rest of my life I've been self-employed. So I've been pretty close to cause and effect, and I also recognize that that has its benefits being your own agent, and it has its liabilities when you haven't done enough research to manage the moment. So it's admittedly a learning curve. I will have to be careful. I would expect to report to you regularly. If there is a reporting mechanism established, I will certainly be part of it. If there isn't, I'd be glad to help start one, so that you know what I'm up to, or representing the town and representing all of you. But I can't make you any promises, because at the moment it would be a learning curve.
Thank you for that. How would you handle a conflict internally with yourself when you have such a strong bias toward something that's on the table in front of you that you're going to put a vote forward on, and the town of Harwich feels opposite the way you feel?
Well, let me answer it. First of all, I'd have to know that the town of Harwich feels opposite, when that would require some clarity on your board's part.
Mm-hmm.
So, having given me that, and then seeing how I manage that, would give you every reason to come back and rejoin, my efforts, positively or negatively. So, I'm not a mind reader as to what the town of Harwich at any moment in time thinks. I only want to think ahead as to what the town of Harwich might want. And I believe it doesn't want to be suffering significant spikes in summer population, which we heard about this evening with the police chief and the fire chief. I think we want that modulated. We all know that the demographics going forward are such that the population is going to diminish. However, as the old-timers, my generation, baby booming generations, sell off or die off in Harwich, those properties become available. They're not going to be purchased by young families. They're just not going to be. Of course, a few are, but as a broad statement, they are going to be purchased by people with money. And those, as we have seen over the last few years, it used to be over 4th of July, 2 or 3 cars would show up in the driveway. Now every driveway you go down, there are 6 cars. So what's that? And 5, 10 years from now, maybe 7 cars, 8 cars. But what it says is that much like the conservation of land, there's a point where buying more land doesn't solve our problem. When you have 100 widgets, you get 5 more, and you don't really see those 5. You just see, you need to be on the way to something else. And that on the way to something else, in my opinion, would be having to grab a handle on the population, the problems the population will put into your laps going forward. And I will always bring those problems up as I see them for conversation. Ms. Edson was very frustrated. I watched her vote back in February 5th, I think it was, about Snow Inn. And with candor, so you get to know my position a little better. In that Cape Cod Commission vote that day, 10 voted for the expansion of Snow Inn, and 2 voted against it, of which one was Mrs. Edston. And I was totally sympathetic to her point of view because, in my mind, the welfare of Harwich does not ride on whether or not the petitioner for Snow Inn gets an additional 35 rooms. There needs to be more to be considered than that. Certainly, in terms of Snow Inn, I would have no axe to grind about their tearing it down and building it up the way they want. My problem would be is the merits of having a larger space to what end, given the 7, 10, however many cars are going to be in the driveway going forward, plus the neighbors. The neighbors have a vote.
Last one. Thank you. So, and it's really not a question, more of a statement, and I'll speak for myself, not my fellow board members, but for me, this is a big moment. It's a big moment because the feeling I've had over the last several months, if not 2 or 3 years, is that we're being kind of told from the top down how to operate our town, state, regional, and it trickles down to us. And we're playing defense, and I've made that very clear. And you and I agree on some things, we don't agree on everything, and that's the beauty of what we do up here. But we're forgetting the voters. The voters should be at the top of the food chain. They're the ones who should be directing how they want their town to look. And to put somebody on the Cape Cod Commission, when I agree with you 100% that they've lost their way, it's not what it used to be, and I've been around long enough to have gone through it several times. I really do want more communication, more cooperation, a team approach from our representatives who are working just as we are for the residents of the town of Harwich. I've been on the board now, I'm going on my 4th year. I haven't seen any representative from any one of our appointments, whether it be Cape Cod Commission or the Assembly of Delegates. They've never been here, and it's almost 4 years, to discuss anything they're doing. So to find out about it in the paper or somewhere else about what they're doing, to me, is unacceptable. And it should be unacceptable to them as well, because we should all be working on the issues together, in either agreement or disagreement. And I'm not looking to agree or disagree, I'm looking for clarity and understanding so that I at least know what's going on at the next level above us in regional government and state government. So,
Well, thank you. I fully appreciate that, and I realize that, I have stood before you in the past, and I've been presented myself as a bit of an outlier. So you're probably a little bit anxious as to whether or not I'll continue to be an outlier. Well, obviously, I have to work with you. I appreciate and understand the value of working from the bottom up, because that's where you get some stability. It's when it comes from the top down that everybody's anxious about how they're fitting into the picture. So I would commit to making sure you knew what I was in my brain, asking for some feedback, perhaps having a reportage mechanism that will make everybody happy and afford the opportunity for discussion about how to fine-tune my act as a representative for Harwich with the commission.
thank you. I'm all set.
Thank you. Mr. Doucette.
First off, thank you very much, Matt, for coming forward and stepping up and trying to volunteer for this. It's a big undertaking. I've listened to a lot of comments that my former, that my board members have made, so I really don't have any questions for you. Just I wanted to thank you very much for coming in and coming forward and saying how you felt about this.
Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Matt, I would need to know the other 24 people were in that phone booth to tell you if I wanted to be in there or not. But otherwise, I don't have any questions. Thank you. Appreciate
Communication, right? That's the
That's
communication
the
part of it.
communication. But we appreciate your interest. We're going to bring in the next candidate for discussion, so.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Spitz.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, I know some of you, not all of you. I used to know everybody up there.
Consider yourself lucky.
Not these days. I've been more and more into retirement. I know this town. I've been here for 17 years, not as long as Matt. I've worked here for 7. I've been retired for 10. I've worked on 2 of your committees. I got a little baggage from some of that, but so be it. Cape Cod Commission is very important on Cape Cod, and we need to work with them. We also have our own points of view. I'm very sensitive to top-down issues. And again, I know the territory. I know that in housing, people can get the projects that will hit the 80% level of income, but because that's what the state and feds say is in that process. But we still say that we want to help the doctors and nurses and so forth. And we haven't found the key to doing that. The top-down approach has given us funding for other things. We need to continue to find ways to work for the attainable housing level. We were told that over and over and over again by the people who responded to the comprehensive plan surveys. Another example of top-down is the sewer process. We got a lot of money to build a sewer based on embayments. We were told that Pleasant Bay was the top priority. Of course Pleasant Bay is a priority, but so is Herring River. And so are the campgrounds, which have the misfortune of discharging directly into Nantucket Sound, which according to the federal rules is not as much of a problem, even though all the eelgrass along there has been dying. Supposedly that's not as much of a problem. So in some cases, we haven't been able to make our own decisions, and that's still going to be an issue as we go. So how does a representative of the Cape Cod Commission, first of all, deal with the town and with you folks? I guess the line I wanted to use was, I'm a team player, but I'm also an independent thinker. I've worked, unlike Matt, I've had a boss, usually something in the public sector, for my entire career. So I'm used to answering to a lot of people. But I also know if you wait and wait for the public to decide something, you could be spinning your wheels forever. So I do believe in action. I do believe in getting answers from consultants and from staff who are supposed to give you answers. And sometimes you have to ask questions more than once. We had to do that in the comprehensive plan process. We had to ask that consultant sometimes 6 times to get what we needed. And we ended up with a pretty good product. So you folks were elected. You don't ask the voters every time you want an answer on something. But you know when an issue might be controversial. I'm not going to come to ask you every time I take a vote or take an action with the Cape Cod Commission. But I'm also going to know that if you folks express an opinion, I better be pretty aware of it. I also think you need to have the Cape Cod Commission representative come in at least once a year, maybe twice. I don't know if you still do it, but for a while, all of the commissions were reporting to you once in the fall. I think you got to have that scheduled so that there's at least some back and forth. Environmental issues are huge. Matt and I are not going to be in exactly the same space on this because I do feel that some growth is going to happen. But I also think that our community is changing with the seasonal nature of things. It's hard. We've got a lot of very modest housing stock in this town. And we could have policies that help make that available for the attainable sector. So I think we have to continue to work on that. So I think some growth is inevitable. I mean, I live in Harwich, boy, it's sure gotten a lot busier the last 5 or 10 years. So, you know, it's not always fun. You know, it's not for a lot of the year, but it's spilling over into May, June, September, and so forth. So I can feel the growth implications. But I guess what I feel more is that as we become more of a seasonal community, our character does change. In my application, I cited the commuting statistics, where everybody who's working here is driving over the bridge to get here. I'd love to do whatever we can to make that change. So I don't know. I think I can help. I think I got the background. I think I can be a good communicator with you folks. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Excellent, thank you. I'll open up to the board. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm still where I was in the beginning, and that is an opinion that I'm willing to put out there, so you don't have to wait. Oftentimes, and I span from Margot forward, Margot was more that balanced approach, and there was always a component of it that worried about whether or not we should be consumptive. A lot of what we're arguing about over the last few years has been about consuming more and more land. It's not about rebuilding things. Some of what you just said has absolutely no discussion point in the commission. From my perspective, I'm worried if anybody goes in with the idea that they need to build a better mousetrap, that they're missing the point. Maybe you don't build the mousetrap at all. There's a I mean, I was part of what went on with Lowe's, and the commission was poised to accept that and advance that. It would have been colossal as a failure. I mean, there would have been police there all the time, especially on Saturdays by their transfer station. There was almost no concern about it crushing a vibrant amount of commerce on the Cape, and that was the classic DRI problem, is that some of the people that they were going to put out of business, like nurseries, painters, small paint shops, hardware stores, actually had local people spending whatever profits they were making here in the community and reinvesting in it. Lowe's was clearly a consumptive endeavor because it was always designed, if you look at their business model, it's always designed for around a 3-year arc, and if they don't make it, they shutter it, they move on, they go somewhere else. And that would have left us with a colossal blight on the Cape. And I guess I'm asking you point blank, as a planner, is there a time that you can find it in your heart to say, no, this is a bad project, you shouldn't build it. No matter what we do to it, it's still going to be a bad project.
So Don, you commented, it might have been a dozen years ago to me, that one of the issues with planners is they always want to plan something. They always want something to happen.
I call it planning disease.
Okay.
It's when
So
a planner
I've
can
heard
build
that
a great community if it wasn't for those darn people.
I also know that as I get older, I also do modify where I might have been 30 years ago. But I also know in our local comprehensive plan process, and I may have already said this, what we heard over and over again was character of the community and don't grow too fast. So I'm aware of that. I also know that from my working time here, 2009 to 2016, we did almost no housing for people of lower incomes. And I think that was a mistake. Now I think we've overcorrected on that. We've got 2 large projects, and I'm okay with those projects. But now we got to be a whole lot more careful. And we do have a lot of existing housing stock. We have a lot of land which can be used a little differently, that can address some of these without taking up new land. Now, we've got 25%, maybe a little more, of this town in open space. That's wonderful. That's a very effective tool, but we still have a lot of land that can be redeveloped. So we got to handle our regulations very carefully. It used to be that the 1 acre zoning would control everything. And then in 2020, this board added a multifamily clause that allows more to happen. And I would say, and I said this probably 25 times in the local comprehensive plan process, you've got to add to that section. You can't just let the multifamily come in, because you're going to get pretty expensive stuff in Harwichport, and to a slightly lesser extent elsewhere in town. So you either have to add a requirement for affordability or some other things to show that you can't just build the more multifamily housing, which that clause allows, and assume you're going to get anywhere towards dealing with our housing issues. It's just not enough. So there are things that have to be done at the local level. There are a lot of things that can be done at the regional level. That's why I'm throwing my name in.
Thanks, David, for coming forward. Regular visitor, Colchester, Vermont, St. Michael's College, so whatever you did out there, you did a great job. Harwich was highlighted last week in the Boston Business Journal as being the hottest real estate market in the whole state. One thing that caught my mind is the median price was $1.2 million. You mentioned a couple of times attainable housing. How can you help, or what does the Cape Cod Commission do to help with attainable housing, if you could tell me?
You got to look at where it's worked elsewhere, and you got to make it work here. We have a lot of modest housing in this town. Not so much in my neighborhood of Harwichport. Substance being torn down every other day and rebuilt, twice as large. But there's a lot of very modest neighborhoods in this town. I don't know, is it a different financing arrangement? I'm not sure of the answers. I just know we got to really look at that sector. And I think the Cape Cod Commission can be a big part of that. We're getting the state guidelines for the 40Bs. That's a different sector. Our comprehensive plan, which I have referenced now, 6 times? Too many times. But that talks as much about the attainable sector. That's what we got to be concentrating on now, and that's what we should seek Cape Cod assistance on. Oh, and Matt understated it. It's not 6 to 8 cars. I came back from Bank Street Beach the other day and found one house with 12 cars. So we're already there.
Good, thanks.
Anita?
I really don't have anything to add, but David, I've known you for a long time, and thank you very much for throwing your hat in, just the same I thanked Matt. It's a big undertaking, and I wanted to thank you very much for doing this.
Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, David, for putting your hat in the ring. Maybe 3 or 4 questions. I'll start with this board's request to the Cape Cod Commission for discretionary review for Pine Oaks 4. Were you in favor of us asking for that, or were you not in favor for us asking that? Or maybe what was your position on our request?
I think that is a discretionary sort of thing. And I think it is fully within the rights of a local board to ask for it in that situation. I happen to be more in favor of that project because I felt we had a need. But I have absolutely no problem with you folks asking for a discretionary review.
Okay. The new bill that's coming from the top down, S3178, which talks about changing to multifamily zoning throughout the entire Commonwealth. Do you have a position or a thought on that?
That scares me.
Why does it scare you for Harwich? Because I don't really care about anyone else.
Because I think you can build a lot of multifamily housing in Harwich that is not going to meet the sector that I've been talking about. I think you can get a lot of very expensive housing. And I think and this is something I've heard the zoning board chair say, you up the density, that's no guarantee that you're getting what you want. So I don't think it's enough.
Okay. And if you were the appointee by this select board, you've referenced, to your own admission, the local comprehensive plan and the housing production plan multiple times. I would love an assurance that that will be in the forefront of your mind when you place your votes as you sit in the Cape Cod Commission. I want it to sync up with all the work that you did for 4 years. And I want you to be sitting, obviously, I like the independent thinking part of this, right? Because as I learned when I got on this board, not everything is as it seems. There's a lot more information than that we'll get. And the public doesn't have access to a lot of that information for multiple reasons. But you were part of that plan. You were part of putting it together. You did a lot of great work. I would love some kind of assurance from you that that's going to be in the forefront of your mind if you were to sit on the Cape Cod Commission when you're, placing your votes.
What did we do, was it 3 or 4 years on that local?
4 years.
4 years?
The vice chair had 2 children, which is pretty unbelievable that we're
So
marking it
he
that
already
way.
had one. So he ended up with 3. That was the easy part. You got a lot of feel-good statements in that local comprehensive plan. The hard part is making it happen. Yes, I can easily work with that comprehensive plan, but so long being a planning staff person and finding ways to get these things done, that plan is just the very broad underpinnings of what we need to do. So yeah, I think it's a great plan. I would definitely work with it, but there's got to be a lot more to make things happen. That attainable housing section, which I keep coming back to, that's a very tough nut to crack.
Well, it balances land use, it balances a lot of different things that the Cape Cod Commission intersects with. And the Cape Cod Commission Act authorizes the commission to prepare and oversee the implementation of a regional land use policy plan for all of Cape Cod, recommend for designation specific areas, Cape Cod as districts of critical planning and concern. And then lastly, which is the one I think that matters most to me, is review and regulate. That is, developments that meet minimum criteria pertaining to size, location, and character, and then will affect more areas than just the municipality that you come from, right? That's the regional connection for me. So, like I said earlier to Matt, this is a big, big decision for me. I plan on being here another 3 years, maybe more if I'm lucky, but we all have to work better together from the town of Harwich to represent the town of Harwich and its needs and its wants regionally. So that's where I stand, and I'm not moving from that position whatsoever. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I got no problem with any of that.
I appreciate that.
David, curious as to your thoughts on the seasonal community designation.
Again, scares me, with some of the stuff that goes with it. So I'm not sure it's the best fit for us.
Thank you. No further discussion? No further questions?
That left a lot of unsaid, but,
No, understood, but agreed. We don't need to get into the details, but I agree with you. Too many unknowns. All right, so that, again, Mr. Chilakis withdrew his name from consideration, so at this
Thank you.
point, thank you very much, Mr. Spitz. So at this point, I'll open it up to the board.
I'd like to move to nominate Matt Sutphin to be the Harwich representative to the Cape Cod Commission, term to expire April 24th, 2029.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none.
Is it inappropriate to ask the motion maker his thoughts behind that?
Oh.
Then I'd like to understand better, because, Mark, I don't want to miss anything here. I want to understand where you're coming from, if you don't mind.
No, I think my questions to Matt early on kind of encapsulated that. I think, as the previous office holder for that position said, she wasn't listened to. A lot of decisions were made without the concurrence of our representative. So I think we need somebody to go in there to really bring a whole new attitude. David Spitz spoke very, very well, but I think Matt has the personality to kind of change that, where, first of all, he's going to come and speak to us, but he's going to change the mindset of that Cape Cod Commission. I don't think they were following what we would expect them to do. So I think it's more, I think I detect more of a force of personality with Matt to get those things accomplished. I think they both presented very well. I'm looking for somebody to upset the way that they've been doing business, and that's why I've nominated Matt Sutphen to be the town manager.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
No follow-up?
No.
Anita, good? Motion and a second on the table to assign Matt Suffin as our representative of the Cape Cod Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-2, the motion passes. Mr. Sutphen is designated as our Cape Cod rep. Thank you very much to both the gentlemen. Moving on to item H, which is discussion vote to appoint a rep to the Pleasant Bay Alliance Steering Committee. Mr. Patrick Otten is the only candidate at this point. I'll also note that this board has the ability to set the expiration date for our representative on the steering committee. Mr. Otten, if you'd like to come before us.
Mr. Chair, before you move on, can you just outline who the 3 were and the 2 were?
Yep.
Because I couldn't hear.
Yep, and I usually, because I can't hear, I don't usually verbalize a lot, but Ms. Doucette and Mr. Handler were nay.
Yep.
The 3 of
You
us
3
were.
were. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Otten.
Good evening. Thank you, Select Board. Yeah, Patrick Otten. Where am I coming from? My early childhood days were spent in the woods on the shores of Lake Huron. Over the last 60 years, I'm finally back to where I'm home, all right? And that is Cape Cod. I had to make a decision when I was going to move to retire. Where do I want to live? And I chose Cape Cod because of the woodlands, the ponds, and the seashore. And that's my primary interest, and that's where I want to be. You can characterize me as being an environmentalist, which is true. That's where I focus, that's where I'm at, and that's where I want to be. I live adjacent to the Pleasant Bay itself on Kendrick Road. My neighbor is Carolyn, and I'm active trying to understand the watershed designations, trying to understand the contamination, human-generated contaminations of nitrogen, both from our sewers, our fertilizers, and runoff. I'm interested in learning myself more about that and being able to better express what's happening with our Pleasant Bay and the embayments that it incorporates. So I'm very much interested in being part of that discussion, part of the understanding, part of the research, and reporting back to the town as to what's happening, where we're at, and what's needed. Okay?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'll open up the board for questioning.
I would just ask one question, and this follows up with some of the questions the previous round of people. When you get on this Pleasant Bay Alliance, who do you represent? Are you representing your views or the town of Harwich's views?
I'm representing what the Pleasant Bay Alliance is doing. Okay, so I'm not trying to interject biases. I'm trying to report back to the town exactly what the Pleasant Bay Alliance is doing so that the town of Harwich will understand what's happening.
Question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's not so much a question, it's an observation about the pitfalls that are potential in this position. The Pleasant Bay Alliance document was actually the driving factor for the executive summary for the sewering of the town. And it continues to drive everything, but it had embedded in it well over 40% growth, and I'm not sure that that ever represented anything that the town had asked for, either at a town meeting or a select board, at any venue that I'm familiar with. So it concerns me because there is a certain amount of confederacy, if you will. It's not just this one organization that represents itself, but you go back into the communities and it's reflective of each Brewster, Orleans, and Harwich. So I mean, it's a really weighty problem because Pleasant Bay is not only a gem, but again, it actually, actions there translate into actions all throughout Harwich, most certainly in East Harwich.
And future development in East Harwich. So, I mean,
And I say what I said before, I'm neither pro-development or anti-development on these things, but I would like to have somebody who would call balls and strikes as opposed to just strikes.
Mr. Set?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Mr. Handler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Take your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for being here. Out of the 5 core responsibilities that the Pleasant Bay Alliance has, can you touch on each one briefly and let me know how you feel you could best benefit each one of those core responsibilities?
I am unable at this point to identify the 5 core responsibilities. I'm here to report to you what the Pleasant Bay Alliance is doing, how it impacts Harwich, so that you're informed as to what's happening.
Okay. Okay, that's all.
How are you gonna go about doing just that?
I need to understand when they meet, where they meet, how I meet, how I come back to you. Those are my questions.
Okay.
So, you know,
All right, fair enough. Any other questions for Mr. Oden? Hearing none, I will open it up for a motion.
I have a question.
Please.
This is not to denigrate Patrick, but this is really important. The work of the Pleasant Bay Alliance has been going on. Alan Thompson was like there at the very beginning. I'm a little dismayed that we have a choice of either Patrick or Patrick in this. I mean, I kind of, before we take any action, would like to see if we could test the water again and see if there's at least somebody to compare it to. It's just, I'm frustrated that there's only one applicant.
And I'll add that, you know, no disrespect to you, Patrick, but I thought you would have come in with a little better understanding of how the alliance functions, when they meet, how they meet, what their core responsibilities are. So you could articulate to us in this big decision how you're gonna represent, you know, this board in this town. Because I would want you to bring your ideas in. And that's why I asked you those questions, or that question about the 5 core responsibilities. I want to know what Patrick thinks about them, not what the Alliance thinks about them, because I know what the Alliance thinks about them, because I've paid attention. So I'd have a hard time casting a vote tonight as well, for a different reason, but I certainly respect Mr. Howell's opinion as to maybe test the water again.
Any other comments?
I'm ready to vote tonight. I think we had plenty of notice about this position. We only had one applicant. It's only a year appointment, so in case we're not satisfied with what Patrick does, this time next year, we can change it. I just see us spinning our wheels trying to get other people involved. I mean, it was out there. Patrick took the time to come forward, and I'm ready to vote tonight for the appointment of Patrick Ott.
may I make a comment?
Sure.
Yeah, so, you know, when you're applying for a job, which this is, it's not that you know how to do the job completely. I'm representing or telling you, I have the background to learn to do the job. I need to have the criteria and understand each little detail and how to interact with the Pleasant Bay Alliance and how to come back to you. So I'm giving you my honesty and my efforts and my 100% diligence to follow through correctly and be a proper representative.
Need any other comments? You gonna make a motion, or?
I make a motion that we appoint Patrick Otten to be our representative to the Pleasant Bay Alliance Steering Committee to expire 1 year from this date.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Patrick to serve on the Pleasant Bay Alliance Steering Committee, term to expire July 27, 2027. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So motion does not pass 2-3. 2 in favor, Mr., what the hell's your last name? Kelleher.
Kelleher.
And Ms. Doucette. Mr. Howell.
Mr. Chair, might I interject that that doesn't preclude Patrick from coming back, but I really, my interest was in getting a wider field.
So Mr. Howell, Mr. Haler, and myself were opposed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much for your
you.
time.
Excuse me,
Yep.
Mr. Chair, just to bring closure to this, does this mean we'll go out and advertise again?
We'll continue to
And try
put
and
it out there.
set up another meeting in another month?
You
Just-
need a representative.
Okay.
All right. Discussion and vote to appoint a hearing officer and to conduct a public hearing for the alleged entertainment liquor license violation that occurred on June 26, 2026 at the Port, 541 Route 28, Harwich Port. I believe there's information in the packet. Jim, I don't know if you want to say a few words first. After that, I'll be looking for the board for a motion.
This is just the beginning, that
Yeah.
you're recommending that Mr. McGrail serve as the hearing officer in regards to this situation,
If that's what we so choose.
if that's what you choose. Yes.
So moved.
Motion to appoint Mr. Grail as the hearing officer. Do I have a second?
Second right here.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm going to vote in support of this with absolutely no reservation. But I do feel there's a larger discussion to be had in the future about who the hearing officer for these violations in these hearings are. And I would just like the board to have that discussion at some point in the near future.
Happy to put that on the agenda. Next meeting, it will not be on there.
No problem.
Yeah, but early September at the latest.
And this can dovetail with the entertainment policy discussion we're going to have as well. So thank you for that.
No, appreciate it.
But I have no reservation in voting in support of this.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Yep.
Do we know that Mr. McGrail would like to do this?
I don't think it matters.
Yes, he does.
I don't think that matters
It's a
much.
good question.
He's actually looking forward to it.
Yes and yes.
I just thought I'd ask, 'cause he's not here.
Mr. Chair, I haven't heard him object it once tonight.
Yes, it's been very quiet.
All right, no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Discussion vote on a special permit app for a one-day entertainment and one-day liquor all alcohol license for Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen Alliance for an event to be held at August 1, 2026, from 5 p. to 10 p. at 100 Oak Street.
So moved or second? Which one are you looking for there?
Motion, we got a
So
motion.
moved.
Second. I have a second. And I see Jennifer is on from the Cape Cod Fishermen's Association. Jennifer, did you want to speak at all, or?
Sure, I'm happy to. This is an annual fundraiser for the Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance. We've been at the Harwich Community Center for the last several years. We're thrilled to be in Harwich holding this event, and it'll be Saturday from 5 to 10 p.m. We have police details, and it's been a successful event the last several years, so looking for your support again this year.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jeff, I'll be quiet. You can go.
No, sure. Hey, Mr. Chair, I vote, where are we here? I vote to approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment and one-day liquor, wine, and malt license for Amelia. Yeah, you just didn't know how to pronounce this.
Exactly.
That's why we gave you the motion.
Ger, and I apologize if I mispronounce, for an event to be held on September 26th, 2026, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., event to be held at 1 Oak Street.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I should have asked, was Amelia in the audience? Would you like to say anything to us? And I apologize.
Like corrected your name?
Right.
I know. Jigar.
It's a birthday party for me.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Invite us.
Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Item L.
Item L, Mr. Chair, I move to approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment license for Perks for an event to be held on August 6, 2026, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., event to be held at 545 Route 28.
I I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion,
Yes.
please.
Indoor or outdoor?
The application?
No, yeah,
It's outside. It's a Pilates event, a community building, wellness, there's no alcohol served. From 8 AM to 11 AM, there's no live entertainment, the instructor will have a small battery pack mic just so people can hear her. That's really it. It's a fun community building event.
Any further discussion? Oop.
no, other than for the folks at home, she actually stood up and gave an explanation.
Oh, that's correct, right. So, the explanation, I apologize for not bringing it to the microphone. The explanation was that it's a fun community event to be held outdoors, and the amplification that will be on site is a microphone used by the instructor. Further discussion?
And through you, Mr. Chair, is this a single time and the only time?
Please, yeah, that way you're on the microphone.
It was my understanding that there had been a Pilates event prior to this. Is this the event now that,
It'll be this one, and then there's one more.
so there is one more?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're both, it's L and M.
Okay. Just so the public knows.
Any further discussion? And I'll just state ahead of time, I'm actually going to oppose the request. A couple different reasons. One, I think it starts to cross over into what the establishment is not there for. And not only that, I don't like the use of the amplification system from 8 in the morning. So understanding your desire to hold a healthy community event, but I just don't think it's the appropriate venue personally. So my 2 cents. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-2. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment license for Perks for an event to be held on August 20th, 2026, from 8 AM to 11 AM, event to be held at 545 Route 28.
And for the public's record, this is identical to what we just approved, so no real need to bring anybody back to the microphone, but you can stay there in case I'm
Okay,
wrong.
I'll stay.
So I have a motion, did I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-2. Thank you. You
Thank
got
you.
both of them approved.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a common Vittler's license application for Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen, LLC DBA Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen at 575 Route 28, Unit D.
Second, with my recognizing my appreciation for the pronunciation of Vittler.
I learned from Mark.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Good evening. How are you tonight?
Great, how are you?
Excellent. Anything you want to share with us?
Well, Dawn asked me if it was gonna be a restaurant or a bar. I need to actually serve food if it's a restaurant, so I probably need.
That's Pete. You said
That was
that.
you. Sorry, that was Mark, yeah.
All right, so, any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Nope, go ahead. I'm just on delay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a new entertainment license application for Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen, LLC, DBA Three Harbors Coastal Kitchen, 575 Route 28, Unit D. Weekday, inside only, 11 AM to 11 PM, jukebox, radio, TV, dancing by live performers, live recorded music, piano player, amplification. Sunday, inside only, 11 AM to 11 PM, jukebox, radio, TV, dancing by live performers, live recorded music, piano player, and amplification.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
The only thing I'll say is I toured the facility, I saw where the piano's gonna go. It's probably in the perfect spot because it's not near doors, so you won't have any, at least I don't believe, you won't have any music exiting the premises when the doors open and close. And I had a conversation with Mr. Wyasek about that as well, so I'm in support of this.
Do you play?
I do, chopsticks,
Excellent. In case you need talent,
100%.
There you go. Well, look,
get them on the cheap.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
thanks, guys.
Moving along to contracts. Jim, you want to take this one?
Sure, hold on 1 second. What we got first here? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. First, the town is being asked to authorize the town administrator to sign the FY27 intergovernmental agreement with Barnstable County for continued participation in the Shared Regional Housing Services Program. This is now the third year of the program, which launched as an ARPA-funded pilot in 2023. 14 of 15 Barnstable County towns are participating this year. Sandwich opted out. The program is administered by Barnstable County and delivered by Barrett Planning Group with subcontractors Housing Assistance Corporation and Elizabeth Rust. Through this program, participating towns receive access to housing technical assistance, advisory services, planning support, research and data analysis, and compliance monitoring for deed-restricted affordable units. The program uses a tiered structure. Harwich is participating at the Tier 1 level only, regional services, at a flat cost of $4,940 for the fiscal year. We have not purchased additional local support or monitoring hours at this time, though we could add those in future years if the need arises. The rate is $143.75 per hour, billed quarterly. The agreement runs July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Staff recommends approval.
Open up to the board, please.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve and authorize the chair to sign an intermunicipal agreement with Barnstable County for the fiscal year 2027. Shared Regional Housing Services for the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust in the amount of $143.75 per hour.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve and authorize the chair to sign a memorandum of agreement with the Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Everyone, otherwise known as SHINE program.
Second.
Motion and a second. Jim, anything you want to cover on this one?
I think you guys received the memo. I won't go through that, but the recommendation through our COA director, through us, is we recommend that the select board authorize the chair to sign the attached memorandum of understanding between the Harwich Council on Aging and the Regional SHINE program, renewing our participation for an additional year.
No further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to sign a contract with Environmental Design and Research Landscape Architecture, Engineering and Environmental Services, Inc., EDR, for SCADA programming services for Phase 3 sewer design in the amount of $185,300.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Jim, you want to just touch on this a little bit as far as what the SCADA program is?
Sure. This contract is with EDR for SCADA programming services tied to the Phase 3 sewer design project. The SCADA supervisory control and data acquisition is what that means. Refers to the software and controls that allow our operations staff to monitor and run pumping stations remotely rather than having someone on site at each one. It tracks pump and alarm status at each station, feeds that information into the town's existing monitoring system, and notify staff when something needs attention.
Quick question, Jim, is this part of the contract with GHD, or is this an add to the contract? Would you know? And if you don't know, I can wait till Jay comes back.
No, this is separate. EDR has a separate contract than
Okay.
the GHD in regards to this. I mean, they will work. I'm sure they'll speak at some point in regards, but this is a separate contract.
Okay.
And I guess asked a different way, this is part of the overall financing that's already taken place?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Give me one second on this one, Mr. Chair.
Take your time.
I just want to double check something. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve a contract with, it's a typo, Stryker, not Steiker, Stryker Sales LLC, for electrocardiograms, which are called EKGs, replacement for the fire department in the amount of $284,161.80.
Motion and a second. Discussion? I was willing to do it for Steiker, but
Steiker,
not
yeah.
necessarily for Stryker. So,
Yeah, yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Be known for something, right? Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to sign a contract with Robert B. Auer, Inc. for catch basin replacement and drainage infrastructure installation in the amount of $489,693.00.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Yep.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank God. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been getting calls over the last year or two about various catch basins, and this has always been in the hopper, but not quite there. So it's terrific that it's happening.
I'm glad the calls are going to you. Please continue to call Mr.
I gave them
Howell with these
I gave them
concerns.
your number, actually, but you were out.
Excellent. Any further discussion? The only thing I'll say is I scrambled to try to find it. Wasn't this like $500,000 less than the other bid? There it is. Yeah, oh, well, not
Yes.
quite $500,000, but significantly. Yeah.
Close, yep.
Yeah, 489 compared to 861.
Wow.
Significant difference, so. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Gonna move along to the Select Board Member Report. Ms. Doucette? You're all set, excellent, thank you. Mark?
Sure, I just want to, it's not a report so much as a request to the chair. I think the process we went through to solicit interest in the Cape Cod Commission generated 3 stellar candidates. I'd like to do the same for our next appointment for the Affordable Trust position, so we can see if there's other people who are interested in that position, so we get a diversity of applicants.
Oh, the Affordable Housing Trust.
Right.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Could I just get clarification on that? So we have an appointee from the select board, and then outside appointees that go to the interview committee. Is that,
If you're asking me, my understanding is there was an interim appointment made. We're going to make this board here is going to make a permanent appointment, I believe, in September, October. And you can.
Yeah, once the Attorney General's office signs off on.
Right. And then what I'm really saying is, I'd like to get,
It's not permanent in the sense of permanent. It's permanent in the sense that every
Oh,
other.
no, correct.
Every other year.
I thought you meant it wasn't expiring, I got you.
I got, yeah.
Good? Jeff, you good with that?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything for the report?
Just for the record, I think we should cast the widest net we possibly can for all things that we do here in Harwich. I'd like to see 8 or 9 people sitting up there for everything.
I agree, yeah.
So that, I'm 100% on board with that,
There'll
Mark.
be one-off meetings, however, but yes, I agree.
Yes, well.
Anything for the Select Board report? Mr. Hannah?
Would you like, well, I would like a update on the Monomoy Working Group timeline. And if I'm not mistaken, Chatham essentially agreed with us, right?
As far as the
With-
makeup of the committee and structure, yes, they
right?
did. They did, yeah.
So they're in agreement with us, and now where do we stand?
I will get an update for you. I think it's what you have just stated, is creating a timeline
Okay,
in regards to meeting schedule.
yep, great.
I believe Jay has been in touch with Jill over in Chatham, and they're also now in discussion with Dr. Millen at the school to create a schedule.
Excellent. And would you like 2 requests for
Would love it.
agenda items?
Would love
Or
it.
would you want them emailed as well?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, great.
Hey,
So
you
I
know
would,
I'm not too smart.
no, I would like to do a review on our council's usage and cost.
Yep.
We're about 6 to 7 months down the road from when we added some controls, and I'd like to see how those are working.
Yep.
And then, again, the discussion on the interview committee procedure and potential policy.
Yep.
Thank you. That's all for me, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Howell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the privilege of attending the 8th annual Cape Verdean Festival a week ago Saturday. There was a particular high level of energy there because of the FIFA results, Cabo Verde's team. It's essentially as if Cape Cod had fielded a team to go up against Argentina. There was a lot of energy. They've guaranteed a 9th year. For me personally, I just knowing how indebted the town of Harwich is to the Cape Verdean folks, that came through various various times in our history, and none were less important than the others. I would really like to urge people that they get on board with this and attend it, because it's really something that we can all celebrate together.
Agreed, thank you, and I appreciate you participating in that event. The only thing I'll state is, and it's in the packet, but a reminder of the annual non-resident taxpayer meeting, and I know Jim mentioned it earlier today, but can't stress it enough, Monday, August 10, 2026, 6 PM right here in the Don B. Griffin Room. So I believe the electronic signs are going out this week, if not today, so that will get some word out. I know folks have also put it out in the social media world, so that should generate 1,000 people. But with that said, it really is an important meeting. I look forward to having folks here in attendance. And with that said, to my colleagues, clearly we're going to have a rather light business meeting that same evening, so it won't be, hopefully, too late in the evening for us to get the hell out of here. But with that said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
For what?
Anything Pete wants. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We got things to sign.